If you're running an online store, let's be real, shipping is everything. It's not just some line item on a spreadsheet. It's a huge piece of the puzzle for your profits and for keeping your customers happy. You get it wrong, you're literally just throwing money away. But when you get it right, you build a customer base that comes back again and again. Okay, let's dive into this. So let me just ask you this right off the bat. Are you absolutely sure your shipping costs aren't quietly eating up your profit margin? This is one of the biggest silent killers for so many e-commerce businesses. And today, we are going to give you the tools to finally get a handle on it. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why this is so critical. Then we'll break down the nine factors that carriers use to decide your costs. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually calculate it all, look at some real-world price differences, and then we'll wrap up with a little Q&A.
All right, let's start with the big picture here. This isn't just about moving boxes from point A to point B. Getting your shipping costs dialed in is absolutely fundamental to the financial health of your entire business.
Okay, number one, and this is the big one, you've got to protect your profits. I mean, think about it. If you charge a customer $5 for shipping, but it actually costs you $9 to mail that package, you've just lost $4. That money comes straight out of your pocket, right out of your profit on that sale. And then there's conversions. Did you know that nearly half of all online shoppers will ditch their cart if they get hit with unexpected costs at checkout? Poof, they're gone. Having accurate, upfront shipping prices gets rid of that nasty surprise and helps you close the deal. And finally, you know what? It all comes down to trust. When a customer sees that your shipping fees are fair and transparent, they feel good about buying from you. And that feeling, that satisfaction, that's what turns a one-time buyer into a loyal, repeat customer for life. Okay, so let's get into the mechanics. What are the shipping carriers actually looking at when they spit out a price? It's definitely not as simple as you might think. In fact, there are 9 different variables that all get stirred into the pot to create that final number you see on the bill. And once you understand them, you can start to control them. So here they are, all 9 factors. You've got the obvious stuff, right? Weight, where it's going, how fast you want it there. But look at some of these other ones. Fuel surcharges, those can change all the time. And then there's all the other little fees and surcharges, things like needing a signature or delivering to a house instead of a business. And we're going to talk a lot more about dimensional weight in a second, because that one is a huge trap for a lot of sellers. All right, so we know the what that affects the cost. Now let's dive into the how. How do you actually calculate this stuff? This is where we get practical. You know, if you wanted to do this the old school way, by hand, it's basically a 4-step process. You weigh and measure your package, you figure out where it's headed, you look up the carrier's base rate for that trip, and then you tack on any of those extra fees we talked about. And here's what that looks like as a simple formula. Let's say you have a package that's 2 kilograms. The carrier's rate is $5 a kilo, so that's $10. Then you add your own $3 handling fee. Boom, your shipping cost is $13. It's a pretty straightforward way to get a ballpark idea. Now let's circle back to that term I mentioned, dimensional weight, or dim weight. This is a big one, so pay close attention. It's basically a way for carriers to charge you for the space your package takes up in their truck. I mean, think about it. A giant lightweight box of pillows takes up way more room than a small, heavy box of books, right? Dim weight makes sure you're paying for that space. And it all comes down to this formula right here. You just multiply the length, width, and height of your box in inches, and then you divide by a number, usually 139. If this dimensional weight is higher than the actual weight of your package, guess what? You're paying for the higher number. This little detail trips up so many people. So what's the best strategy for your store? Well, you could go with a flat rate. It's super simple for customers, but it can be really risky for you if your actual costs are all over the place. The other option is using real-time rates, which just pulls the exact cost directly from the carrier at checkout. It's way more accurate and totally transparent for everybody involved. Okay, enough with the theory, right? Let's look at some actual numbers. How does this all shake out when you compare the big carriers for shipping here at home versus sending something overseas? The difference can be pretty shocking. All right, check this out. Shipping a small 1-pound package from New York to California is about $5 with USPS, but it's over $10 with FedEx. Now look what happens when that same little package goes to the UK. The cost explodes to over $21 with USPS and a whopping $63 to $65 with FedEx or UPS.
This is exactly why you have to compare your options.
All right, to finish up, let's do a quick lightning round. We're going to tackle some of the most common questions people have when they're trying to figure all this out. First up, people are always asking for the simplest, most basic formula to keep in their heads for what goes into the total cost. And here it is. It's just 3 simple parts. You've got the cost of your box and packing materials, the actual shipping fee the carrier charges you, and then any handling fee you add for your time and labor. That's the whole shebang. And now for what might be the most important question of all. Which one matters more to the carrier? The weight of your package or the size of the box?
The answer is both. And this is so important to remember. The carriers will calculate the price based on the actual weight and the dimensional weight. And they will always charge you for whichever one is higher. You have to plan for both. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Once you understand all these little details and formulas, you can stop guessing. You can start making smart, strategic decisions. You can ship smarter, not harder. So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. Now that you've got the tools and you know the formulas, take a really honest look at your business. Where might you be leaking money in your current shipping strategy?